Welcome, everybody. Good evening, good evening. Welcome to good afternoon, I guess this time in
It's a
Europe.
good early afternoon. Call it.
Welcome to BeoTalk 288. As per usual, like and subscribe if you haven't done already. Not much chilling other than go buy some skinny play stuff. Use my promo code for 10% off. Leave us a like. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat. And if you can't make it live, pop them down below and I'll get to them next week.
That's
Uh,
it.
also, come join our Discord,
Do it.
but only if you're interested in B&O, not so much if you were into Yamaha or Bowers and Wilkins or whatever.
Oh God, don't even start with the Yamaha.
Or if Sony is the shit or whatever.
No, no, don't join.
If you hate YouTube for whatever reason, we're still on Twitch for some reason. I don't know why I did that, but
What?
it's that we're still on Twitch.
I don't know. You got the bandwidth. Let's do it.
Yeah, but like literally two
Nobody
people,
watches it.
two people are there. But we aim to please. Welcome, fellow poors.
Oh my God,
How poor do
bro,
you
I
feel
couldn't believe
now?
it. I feel rich because I feel like I had a.
Oh no, is this me or is this him?
They doubled in price since I own them.
Wait, so I think my internet just borked a bit.
Something just pooped up. I saw. Yeah, everybody just burped. No, like I feel like I'm sitting on a freaking Bitcoin with this now.
Yeah, it's same.
You got 4 Bitcoins for God's sakes. I think that they're slowly creeping these things out of reach, slowly but surely.
I actually have
But
to
then again,
call my insurance now.
yeah, you know what's weird though? Like us crying about it, let's say, or per se, versus how much is moving out of the store. Given like the last 2 months were slow, right? But I didn't really feel that that let's say the $3,000 increase for the theater drastically affected the sales. It only affected the sales for the people that had known about it prior, right? So they pulled the trigger quicker.
Mm.
But anybody that walks in now and a lot of the times either, well, they've heard of BNO, but they haven't heard of what the new products are, but they also are in tune with the ridiculous pricing of everything that is high end and branded nowadays, right? So if just spill it to them that the theater is now 13,000 Canadian and they didn't know what it was before, they'll just pay it because they don't know. They don't see that value differentiation that we do when from the first adoption of the product to more or less when they discontinue it. It's the same, I guess, with lap fives. When they first came out, they were $18,000, 18,500, I believe, US. And that was in 2003 when we were almost on par with the dollars Canadian. So at the end of the day, when they discontinued them, they were, I think, $38,000 for a pair. So, but yeah, the 90s, I think, like now you can legit buy a fucking Porsche 911, bro. Cash. And just, well, I don't think you'll enjoy it as much as you enjoyed the 90s. Depends who if you're a gas jock or whatever they call them, the petrol head. Yeah. Then yeah, you wouldn't, I don't know. Personally, I would buy the fucking 90s in Montreal if I didn't have them over a 911 because I would not have the heart to drive the 911 on the streets of Montreal. There is no bloody way. I would have a hard time with it in Calgary now, not more or less because of the potholes, but because the rocks and shit that shoot out because we don't use salt there. They just salt everything. So here your car will rust, but the windshield will be fine. And in Alberta, your windshield is looking to look like you just driven through a freaking gang neighborhood, but the paint is fine. I mean, the car is fine as far as the rust. But yeah, I don't know.
I
I would
mean,
enjoy the 90s more, that's for sure.
do you still think it won't affect things like 90s and 50s? Because not that long. Wait, wasn't it before the last price increase that the 50s were under 50, right?
I think the 90s have now left the most common reach of a well-doing individual.
Because the 50s are now 60 grand essentially US, because it's 59,000 USD without sales tax.
The 50s, I think the 50s are going to take a little bit of a hit. I think that, 90s, I see that as a purpose pricing. I think that for them it's just really too hard. Maybe it's not hard for them to manufacture the speaker per se because it's just drivers and shit. But I think they may have a problem with, like, let's say, casting these big chassis, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they had contractually done only so many that, okay, we're going to do, let's say, I don't know, 50,000 units, right? That's 25,000 pairs, which I think I'm smoking fucking crack if it's that many speakers.
Yeah.
Let's say 10,000 units, right? That's 5,000 pairs of 90s. That's a lot of aluminium, bro. Like, each speaker is 65 kilos of just that. You know how many
Yeah.
pop cans that is?
Yeah, you're better off making 50s probably.
Well, 50s are just cladded in aluminium, right? That's the only difference. Well, that's the major difference, that they're made out of that high impact, whatever, polycarbonate plastic.
Yeah, I think it's fiberglass reinforced.
Yeah, fiberglass reinforced PVC.
Because if you take all the aluminium off, you see all the strands going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But in New York, plus 10% sales tax, it's 65,000 USD.
Quebec, it's 17%.
So, what, they're like 80,000 Canadian or something in Quebec?
I think they're about 82, yeah, or something like that, 88. The cheapest place to buy them would be in Alberta, where I'm from. Well,
wait, then you can do that and you won't get like dinged or something?
It would be cheaper for you to buy the speakers here, have them shipped to Alberta address,
Yeah.
and then ship them back. Because it's 17% versus 5%. 12% on, let's say, $80,000 or $79,000, whatever it costs.
It's 83,500 Canadian.
So there you go. So 12% savings on that. It's a good fucking deal. I would have them go for a ride for sure.
So let's see, 83,500 times 17.5%, right?
17. Let's just be almost nice.
That is 97,695 Canadian. So basically 100 grand for 50s in Canada.
Yeah, if you don't do no deals, but
damn.
But how much deal can you swing off these things now? Holy fuck, right? Like, and it's not like that's something that we would pre-order and sit in, let's say, 5 pairs in a warehouse, right? Because you're sitting on a $250,000 worth of inventory.
Yeah.
So can you do that or not, right? And we didn't. I think we have 2 sets of 50s, but one is the store demo that just came in. And the other one's been pre-sold already. It's just waiting for the guy to finish his damn house.
Lawrence just says he was on tour in B&O HQ and he was told they sell about a set of 90s a day globally.
Well, that's only 365 pairs. Wow. If they're doing it every day. So yeah. Are we talking weekends as well, or just, 365 minus 52? So they're doing what? 313 speakers a year, let's say.
Well, I mean, it still comes down to, like, it's what, 10 years nearly?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be.
So let's say round up very generously 400, so it's still like 4,000 pairs.
Yeah,
because they probably sold a bit more like 10 years ago.
Oh, in the beginning, I'm sure they went.
Yeah.
They had to front load the dealers as well, right? It's just the same thing like when the Avant 85 came out. You need one in silver and one in gold. We'll never serve the gold. Well, you need it anyways. Fuck.
Well, you also needed the contrast thing, and now, yeah, that's a bespoke option, I think, or what is it, the piano black or whatever.
Hmm. Yeah, it's I don't know.
It's all
I don't know.
so expensive.
We haven't sold a set of 90s last year. I really don't believe we'll sell one this year. 50s are going to start to be a real hard push now, in my opinion. I think that we're going to have to start liking the 28s more, not just in the shop, but overall, because that would probably be one of the only viable and affordable options now if you want a big set of speakers. Which, if I were to do the 28s, son of a bitch, I would still look for a used set of 20s with a core. Sorry to say.
I would personally still do 18s or 17s with a 19.
Or that.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the Parisian fabric on the 90s is so much more premium.
Because they decided it is, not because of necessarily anything. Just like the white initially was, right? Like the white was the ultra premium for some reason, and then it wasn't premium at all anymore.
Right. And
Like
the Parisian night wasn't premium at all.
I mean, I
The
guess
white was.
you would sort of not be that bothered because, like, by the time white was no longer premium, the price was like in total higher. But it's kind of weird, right? That you bought something premium, and like 2, 3 years later, it's sort of like, nah, this is a standard color now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, imagine if you bought something bespoke and like 2 years later, it's the same price, but you can buy it off the shelf.
Fuck. Yeah, that sucks.
I mean, also as a dealer, how are you supposed to display these?
That's a lot of capital standing on your floor that's played maybe twice a week.
I mean, because I think it's still the case that if you look at want to become a dealer, that your sort of quoted investment is about 250,000, right? For like opening a shop and having inventory and that sort of thing. But there's no way that's possible if you want to have 90s around.
No, 90s that's a far stretch. There's so much light, but not enough. What the fuck?
Because it's not just like the 250 grand investment isn't just in product. It's also like you have to have the correct desk and floor and computer and.
Our new shop, if I remember correctly, I'm not gonna say the exact number, but I'm gonna say it was 40,000 euros for all the panels, displays, the fucking cabinet things, the headphones display, like basically the showroom, right?
Yeah.
Sans, we redid the floor, which was on the owner's cost, so whatever the fuck that cost, plus, right?
Yeah.
And that's an existing shop that's been there for 40 years plus. So if you need to buy the building, like you're looking at like $2 to $3 million capital head start in order to open a shop.
If I'm that much down the hole to start, I'm not much in a deal sort of.
Well, that's
mindset.
not a deal then, right? Like I think that
no, but if you sell anything
day,
and somebody comes to you and say, "Can I get I don't know, 2 sets of 90s for 20% off?" It's like, no, I'm 3 million down the hole. I need to claw this back before any of that sort of thing happens.
That's right. So I don't know. At the end of the day, I think as a B&O shop, yes, you make your money on the product for sure. But if it's a smart B&O shop, then they do it with automation as well. You start raking in more cash on, let's say, Lutron automation and the blinds, the lights, cameras per se. Doing a proper network set up in the house. That's also very important.
And then says his dealer told him its required capital was around 5 million British pound. God, Who
That
wants
is
to start a
insane.
shop for that sort of money? Like, I understand if it's a food shop, right? Like, that makes sense for that sort of money.
Well, you can open a pretty piping market for that, a supermarket for 5 melons.
Yeah. But just a B&O shop? God.
A place to have a few speakers, headphones, and TVs in a nicely furnished environment, basically.
I mean, it's fun and all, but like, what? You're just gonna like sit there twiddling your thumb, hoping somebody walks in.
Well, no, you can't do that. You have to be proactive, in my opinion, at that point. Like you gotta have. If you go that far deep down the rabbit hole, then you would need to have some sort of contracts with either interior designer or architects or something, where you start pushing that product in as soon as possible. Because if you're just waiting for some dummy to come in there and buy a set of freaking H95s, that's not going to save your business.
No, I understand, but like, how the hell do you get that pre having the shop, right? Because it's not as straightforward. Because B&O doesn't like go like, oh, you want to be a licensed dealer? Here, sure, you have money. No, they're gonna tell you
I
like you
think
need
that
X floor. You need to sit right there. Like this is the spot we've designated. You can have a shop.
I think that that also I think B&O's banking on the fact that they're B&O, right? Like we're a
Yeah.
premium brand. Google us, blah blah blah, and therefore shut up and pay us the 5 melons in order to open your little boutique there. You know, so
I don't really understand the arrogance.
maybe it's a Danish thing. I don't know, but
Well,
it's
I sort
starting to
of
get a little too much.
you sort of get it with age, right? And having been the best for so long, but also it's like, do you not remember the last 15 years?
Well, they were scraping a chin 15 years ago pretty badly
Yeah. Well,
on the
it
ground.
wasn't just like your sales are shit. It was also like your Android
Your
products are pretty terrible.
Android products, and before that was what, like the big lull of the 2010s when there was, they had nothing between uh BeoVision or BeoPlay V1. That was the first LCD that came up with a new platform. Before that, we're still selling Masterlink stuff with
I
you
mean,
know
I know it probably hurts them, but they saved the company once before with going more sort of mass market, right? And then they
mhm.
pulled back out of that when it's all integrated into B&O again. And now they've decided the Hail Mary is like people with enormous wealth. And I'm sort of thinking like, you know how to do the mass market one. You already did that. Like, why not do that again?
Different management, I guess. But I also think that they're banking on the fact that no matter how much money you have per se, right? When you build a house and you want to put some nice looking speakers design wise, there is nothing like B&O. You truly can't compete on that level of look. Yes, B&O may not sound the best because you can get speakers that will fucking steamroll even the 90's per se, right? With the proper setup and hundreds of thousands of dollars in these Macintoshes and whatever amplifiers and this and that and equalizers and fucking you know styrofoam cones to keep the wires off the ground so you don't get the static while your cat walks on the floor. All that shit, yes, it may sound better, but it doesn't look nowhere near as good. You know,
But for
if you
that
look at
same
like,
token, 90s are a hard sell because most people will be kind of shocked by seeing them in real life.
well, but yes, okay, so but sans that, like 90's, I understand that it's a statement speaker more or less, right? It's
Yeah.
just it's not something that everybody even is able to get. It's just an unobtainable product to 99% of the people. But when it comes to like the 18s, even the little Beolab baskets or whatever, all that, like the way that it looks, there are not any competitors that I've seen that do it the same or nowhere even close. Apple with their things, yes, they got their little bit more refined design and quality control to it than the rest. But like if you look at the Bowers and Wilkins, the Zeppelin, and all that shit, that idea burned down back with the Zeppelin itself. I don't like the look of it. Whatever. But that's what you pay for. You pay for something that is timeless. It's you put a BeoSound 1 CD player on the table, people will still not know that it's from 2000, right?
No, that I agree with. The look is for sure something else. But
and
like,
I think that's the only
90s
bank card that they have. I think that's the only thing they really bank on now, man, because their technologies, their fucking Sonos works more integrated within itself than B&O when it comes to sharing HDMI signal from the TV. And Sonos doesn't have any handshake or a contract or an app that you install on your TV to make it work with Sonos. No, it just pulls the fucking signal out and it pushes it to all its product without any delay or nothing. You can't do that on B&O. On a high-end Pro, why not? And it's just those things that, for me, that's bothersome. Sonos looks terrible, gotta say. But just the way they work for a regular consumer, right?
I mean, I was saying on Discord, right? Like, I understand being priced out the market and that we're plebs and that we're poor and too poor for B&O and they kind of don't want to be seen with us. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. But do that with new bloody products. Do that with Beolab 55. The new Beolab 55 is $70,000, whatever, right? The old 50s are EOL now. We'll support them for 10 years, but fuck you. New thing,
There's
more expensive.
I agree.
But they're currently doing it with things that were made 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of a little bit of a why, right? Like, why would I have to pay now double for the same technology that I could have paid a half of a price back in, 9 years ago now?
Because that's why I sort of like, at what sort of point in life do you have to be where you just, because I don't think if you, let's say you're worth $5 million, right? I don't think that is a sort of price or like net wealth sort of area where you just go, fuck it, I'll have some 90s and I don't care about the price. You're not wealthy enough for that. Like, you're still like,
no,
150 grand is still a lot of money because you knew what it was to have less than that. Like, you're not at like, I spend 100 grand a month kind of territory yet.
But you know what, bro? Crypto's pumping today, so.
but that's kind of what I mean, right? Like, 90s are, I like them a lot, and they are quite striking. But also, a lot of people will go sort of like, ooh, like in real life, and that is sort of like, ooh, I don't know, like I don't know how this will look. So you'll have to be like an audio head, and you're gonna do a Google search. What are other people saying about this? And even if it's a cursory one, right? Test it at X dollars.
If you drop in 200,000 Canadian funny money on anything, dude, you be Googling the piss out of it. I would. I don't know. Maybe some people just don't care, but I'm one of those that I research my purchases quite extensively.
Well, if you make like $1 million a month, probably not, right? Like it stops mattering. But if you make
I'd still look at it I'd still look at it, bro. Because then you invite your friends over and they're going, dweeb, what did you buy that for, stupid?
But even if you make $1 million after tax a year, like, that's still a chunk, right?
Well, at that point, you can afford some 90s, I think. But you're not buying them every 2 weeks. It's a system that you buy once, right? The speakers, you buy them once.
Sure, but it's also like, it's, what, 15% of your yearly income post-tax? Like, I mean, there's not that many people that make $1 million a year that just go, fuck it.
No. No, but also, I guess at that point, some of that shit you can amortize into your mortgage if you're crazy enough to get it, right? Or crazy enough about getting it. Then, if you're doing a renovation in a house, you can just tie all that automation stuff inside it, I guess. I don't know how much bank would like it because that stuff, to bank, electronics depreciate in value, right? Where B&O is completely the opposite of that. And it's the only thing on the market that I know of that appreciates in the value, other than some old collectible somethings and whatever is like,
Well, if nothing else, it doesn't lose any value.
It definitely does not. So, but yeah, like Sandeep says, it is what it is, unfortunately.
But apparently, having a net worth of 5 million is not a very high net worth. It's just high net worth. So even those people aren't their target audience, which is bloody crazy, right?
So what are they dealing to, like sheikhs and cartel? Like, who's gonna be our clientele?
I guess 10 million and over net worth. But that leaves out, like, you gotta, like, in most of Europe and most of North America, you take out all the farmers, right? That's thousands of people, because every farmer is worth a couple million at least just in the machinery they have.
Oh yeah,
And also those types of people are actually, like, they're wealthy, but they're still kind of blue collar, right? So they don't give a shit about this sort of thing on the whole. Like, the only sort of farmer I can think of that cares about B&O is like Jeremy Clarkson. But he only became a farmer once he was rich.
yeah.
So
But
it's
I think they're pricing themselves out of common people's reach. But I guess for common people, it's gonna be headphones now. Where I can't believe that even the Explorer, it might be just a Ferrari edition, but it's over $450 or something. Like, they're getting to the point where, uh, do I buy this and have the prestige, or do I just buy something that kind of works, right?
I mean,
That's what people are going to start looking at. I don't look at it. I'm still so nuts about B&O. Obviously, some of the stuff is going to be.
wait, did you mute yourself or did?
I did
Oh, there
indeed.
you.
I
You just
pressed
go.
this. Apparently, the space bar. I leaned on it to mute it. But no,
I mean,
yeah,
there are
some of the stuff is
legitimate people
definitely
that
out of the
make like
reach.
100 million a year, like Taylor Swift and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
But they're not home enough quite often to care about this sort of thing either.
No, no, I don't know. I don't know where this is going. I guess only with the 90s. I think that boat is going to sail on a lot of people and have sailed on a lot of people that could or wanted to buy them. Because I
I
think
mean,
90s, there's only I think there's two categories of people that buy them: the real fanatics and people that just have something that is a status symbol in the house. I don't think there's much in between.
I think the yeah, Barry says I can tell you this: the audience for this podcast will not be very high net worth individual. Self-proclaimed, there are a few. So hello, hello.
And that's it.
Yes, yes. Good day.
But I don't know. I think, well, apparently the promises are that there's going to be a quite a lineup of, not a lot, but apparently there's going to be a whole bunch of new products that are going to be quite interesting this year. So I'm very interested in what
Yeah, but if
that
the
is.
price isn't interesting, look, the basic headphones are €500 or something like that, right? Like, that's already kind of really steep for
I think the
headphones.
EXs are like 450 US. No,
Yeah, I mean the over-the-ear cans, right? Like,
no, the EX, the little freaking corks plugs.
yeah, $400.
They do
The
sound great, mind you, but
the H95s are 1,000, and the HXs are 600. Like, that is premium, right? Like,
yep.
I don't even think Sony charges that much for their top of the line wireless ones.
I don't think so. I don't know.
I mean, yes, you can get more expensive headphones, but they're like dedicated preamp amp kind of headphones.
Yeah, when you're
Like,
getting into the audiophile territory with
yeah,
headphones only.
like the Sennheisers and stuff, like the HD820s or 800s, and but you need a whole bunch of extra stuff. Like, they are headphones, but they're not like la da da da. I'm going on a train type of headphone. Because, like, you need a portable amp and that sort of bullshit.
Hmm.
So I guess once we're fully out of the price market, the podcast will end.
No, we can still bitch about it.
Yeah, but that's gonna get bloody tiring if you can't afford it anyway. Look, I
Yeah.
don't bitch about the faults in Bugatti software because I'm never ever going to drive or purchase one, right?
Yeah.
Like, unlikely. So it's like, okay.
They priced us out of a podcast.
Yeah, unless they're gonna start giving shit to me or to test and stuff. But otherwise, like,
It's going to be tough. That's for sure.
but I
I guess I will retain the access to it through the store,
yeah.
but then that also will cut down on my ownership abilities of some of these products now.
I wonder if your store income is supposed to rise with the price increases in the similar manner.
Oh no, there's no way. Not here.
Rob says the problem with high net worth individuals is they integrate their whole homes with Crestron, Lutron, Control 4. The integrators don't like using B&O. Well, good thing you're an integrator and you like B&O.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know what? The reason why they don't like B&O, more or less, yesteryears of B&O never really supported anything, and especially like when you talk about Crestron in the early years of start of this millennia, I guess the mid 2000s. It was a fucking pain in the ass to integrate B&O with it. It still would work, but it was terrible. Lutron always worked with B&O. It worked with B&O since 2008, but also because of how B&O was so late with all this integration capabilities, because they wanted to always have their own environment, right? Like, the LC, whatever, the light things that they did for their lamps with the lights and all that shit.
Yeah, the dimmers.
The dimmers, right? It was so proprietarized that they couldn't really tie it in with everything. And that hatred towards that is now nonsensical. It's just hereditary.
I think that actually with Beolabs because of the DIN plugs, right? Because
Yes.
they're proprietary DIN plugs. And like so many people think of like, God, Beolab 8000 days where they didn't know what to do with that. If they only knew it was like an adapter and it was a normal cable essentially.
Well, but even back then, the 8000s, I think that the real tough ones were like lap 3s when there was nothing. There was no RCA, because 8000s had an RCA. You could set them to line and it still would work with the preamp.
Yeah, I guess if
Threes
Steve
were a little
started 10
different.
years early, it would have saved a lot of hate. Steve, you're too young. You needed to start 10 years earlier.
Yeah, but I honestly, I am an integrator myself. I know, I've seen this, and I see it. I see it from the other side of that window, where I'm the B&O guy that's trying to not convince the guys, but trying to make their life easier. And once, I've showed up on sites where people are like, what the fuck are we going to do with this? And once you talk them through it, and it's like, no, man, there's drivers for that in Control 4 on the back end. We just need to enable it in the special menu of the B&O, right? But then also, that's how they protect their UI or their own deal, I guess. So not everybody that has a hole in their butt can go in and change things in TVs and enable them, because they want you to be certified to a certain extent or experienced with B&O to a certain extent. It's the same thing. Like I can't just walk into a Control 4 and give me a license, bitch. I can't do that because I haven't done Control 4 training. I have zero experience and I have zero will to learn, because I know that system, in my opinion, right? But it works. But in order to work with Lutron, I had to get certified with Lutron and have a full understanding of how all these things works. And back in the day when light bulbs actually had like an actual electrical load, where now it's all LEDs, and all you got to be worried about is that you have dimmable enough that they don't flicker and shit. So that's where that is. And with the gateway, you can integrate everything the same way you can do it with Control 4. But the problem is you do have to have a fully set up B&O environment, where if you do Savant or Control 4 or Crestron, I hate to use that word even, but if you do Savant or C4, you can put a Samsung or whatever TV and control it with that, and have a puck control from the main whatever, and the processor, so everything controls with one remote. Yes, but at the end of the day, the remote feels like poo. because they're plastic. They're just ugh, they're janky. Control 4 now came out with a very nice remote. I gotta give them that. I think B&O should take some inspiration from that and backlight the goddamn buttons. Apparently, there has been another request on our system for more tactile remote control, so they're working on it.
I mean, that's probably the only thing I'll be able to afford is new remotes.
That's it.
It's
Gonna
just kind
grow.
of sad. So
So
the majority of people are going, "What about these prices?" Then that's 63%. Then it's 23%. The price increase is not for them, but understand. Only 7% thinks it won't have an effect on sales, and 3%, so probably one person thinks it's a good idea. I look in the end. I hope they understand, and they probably don't need me to survive. Right? It's fine.
mhm.
I'll be sad about it, but I have a pretty amazing setup, so like I'm not really gonna lose out on much of anything.
Well, and that's where I'm at too with it. At the end of the day, I have the 90s in the storage. Theater is gonna be here for a long, long time. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. This thing at least 5 years, if not more. There's no way. And probably longer because they are, boasting their cradle to cradle nonsense with the replaceable modules and whatnot. And if you can swap out a video board for 8K or whatever, well, fuck, why not? Why wouldn't I pay the extra premium $2,000 in order to get new functionality or updated functionality of my existing system? By the way, the finding is you are now able to delete the sound presets on everything but theater. You can just swipe them now and it goes delete. Like, it's pretty cool. So, when you made movie speech and blah, 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 you can actually delete those now.
I
So,
also made a poll about the time. Like today is 2 hours earlier because I actually have somewhere to be just after 2. So if you like this new time, or if you don't care that it's 2 hours earlier, let us know. I mean, the 2 p.m. slot here, which was the 8 p.m. Europe, I don't know. It was kind of tradition because that left me time to eat and stuff in the past. But now I'm here. Like I can do 2 hours earlier. I can do 2 hours later. But it's
yeah, for me, it's the same. If we do it at noon, then, I get more of the afternoon. If we do it at 2 o'clock, I have more of a morning. So I don't really care. The
I mean,
Sunday has been blocked off for the podcast for last 5 years, man. So it doesn't really matter what time of the day we do it,
the
as
only
long
thing
as
that
we do
gets
it.
better at like 2 p.m. East Coast time is that if you have a really hard bender on Saturday night,
But that's
yeah,
on you.
oh, good morning, good afternoon, damn it.
So yeah. But yeah,
We
I don't
start off
know.
like, hello everybody, my head hurts.
So realistically speaking, what else would you need from B&O right now? Like, what system would you miss or missing or you want that you would need in your house right now, given the amount of B&O equipment that you already have?
I
Same
would
goes for everybody, I guess.
I would like something M3 esque.
Ish. Okay.
Like I understand the emerge is kind of that, but the emerge has to sit on it, and it's wall mounting kind of doesn't work. It looks really weird. Like an M3
Hmm.
doesn't look optimal, but it doesn't look as weird on like a sort of wall bracket.
No.
I mean, I have cats, so I don't really in my bathroom. I can't really set it on like the countertop because my cats lay on there, right? And it's not
Hmm.
heavy enough to not be knocked over. Like the
Hmm.
M3 is wide enough that it doesn't matter, and apparently it tastes good.
There you go. Are they still hopping on your theater and sitting on the buttons?
Yes, it's goddamn annoying.
There still should be a way to disable the top interface. Like, I don't mind it lighting up when I'm there, but I just turn it off. Like, I never use it. And there's two reasons why I don't use it. First of all, it's on the TV. I have a remote for that. Second of all, every time you press something, you leave a fingerprint on that glass, and then you have to wipe all of it. So I don't touch it. I
Yeah.
really don't.
I would
So
love to turn it off because then I'm actually surprised at the structural integrity of the theater on the stand with like cat's. My cat is what? She's like, it's the female that does it because obviously the female does it, right? Like the boys are good boys.
she's the dominant one. I'm gonna walk all over this.
But she's 5.5 kilos or so, and she sits on the literal edge, and like it doesn't even like tilt or anything. I mean, it's not like she's a kilo. It's 5.5 kilos. She's probably close to 6 now.
Stop feeding her.
Well, she's only just 1.
Why don't you put aluminum foil on the top of the theater when you're not home? Doesn't that? I've seen the cats hate that shit.
Yeah, but then that scares them, and then it's.
No. That's why I don't have cats.
But like, but he only essentially does it whenever there's like a bird in any show, right? Like, ooh, bird. So that must be closer to bird. It's potential dinner. But even like the fabric on top, it just holds apparently close to 6 kilos without even like bending or sagging or anything. So
well, it's glued on, so.
But I would love to.
Product.
I would love to turn the buttons off because, yeah, in most cases you don't use them.
I think what B&O should make for LG is they should make what I would call, I guess, a rattle or vibration kit, where they'll send you a diagram and where you put padding on strategic spots of a G2, G3, G4 panels, because they're more or less the same boards. So it stops the vibration. Because it's not the theater. It is the goddamn panel that always vibrates.
I think they should only sell that to dealers and have dealers do it.
Of course. No, this is not something that you just buy on Amazon. We'll throw a link out and, hey, have fun taking apart your TV. It's only 19 screws. Good luck. Make sure you unplug it. So, no, but I think that they should do that. It should be researched more. Like, I don't understand how they're in denial of the fact that it doesn't vibrate, bro.
Because they use it also with attached speakers and reasonable levels. I don't think they really test it all that often with like full beans just theater.
Well, but I don't do full beans just theater. I have 18s and 11 in the back, and I understand 11's not the most powerful sub, whatever, but that thing still pumps, man. It still goes. So with the theater, I still hear the panel. Not as bad as it used to be, nowhere near. But there's still a certain frequencies where the top right corner fucking vibrates.
I mean, so yeah, I want an M3 replace. I would probably want a stand solution for the balance for the people that like it. Because currently you can only set it on something you already have, right? But like if you want to put it in a hallway or whatever, like just have a nice stand solution. It can be wood. It doesn't even have to be aluminium because it's more of a wood speaker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like the STB solution where you sort of wall mount it, but it kind of looks weird. Because of the shape, right? Like make it more of like, I don't know, a stand for a vase or maybe sort of tripod that's meant for it or something like that. I want a new remote.
I definitely want a new remote. Out of all the product that there is, I would really like a remote control that is backlit and a little more tactile. Make it a little bigger. I don't care if it's not as sleek. People don't like it as sleek because some people have sausage fingers and they can't do shit with this.
I mean, I wouldn't mind if they updated the stage, but it's kind of not needed.
For me, like I always wear gloves when I work on B&O.
Oh, you dropped a few seconds. I wouldn't mind if they updated the stage, but I don't really care. If I look at the market at people that can still want to get into B&O, but can't afford all the silly new stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like have a a stage with a sub out or a stage with like 2 extra speakers. But also, they kind of are saying they don't want you as a customer, which is weird.
Well, I don't know. I'm having a feeling that stage may be reaching end of its life in a way, because now they're pulling it back with a trade-in program, right? Get your full value of the stage back when you buy a theater. So I don't.
It
I don't
makes me consider
understand.
buying a theater for the bedroom. Because that's quite a good deal.
Well, fucking rights it is, and you have a wood one, no?
No. I have an
Okay.
aluminium one.
Well, you just have the prestige wood
Yeah.
on it, right? Yeah. Yeah, I would consider it. Because at the end of the day, yes, like we're talking about, like what would I still buy? I would still buy, and I'm still going to buy. I don't know if it's going to be here or in Florida. The way the crypto's going, fuck, I might buy 2 pairs of the Beolab 8s.
Look, if the 90's were even the price of 2 years ago, and they were like 90,000 or 85,000, I may have bought a set of 90's. But like, one of the problems is that every time you think, oh, I can do this, the price goes up. Like, there's no way you can save yourself into B&O anymore.
Not into the 90's, no. You have to have the cash.
Yeah, or
Exploding.
50's or 28's. Like, 28's also went up by 15%. Like, holy hell.
Now those speakers, I don't want to talk down on any product, but those speakers just don't do shit for me, bro. They're glorified 6000s in my opinion, with a sloppy bass.
I mean,
But
28s are now starting at 20 grand US. And when they launched, they were expensive in the US, but they were like 14 grand or something.
No, it's too much now.
Because when I bought them, I think they were, for the black ones, they were like 11,500 euro. That's including 21% sales tax.
God,
Or maybe 12,000. It's like, holy hell.
For that money, what these speakers should have an ability to do is to attach a subwoofer to them. They should definitely have considered that in a Mozart platform, to attach to the Beolab 8s and Beolab 28s, to be able to attach a sub.
But I don't think they want to make subs like you said a few weeks ago. I think that's
I
partially why the reason everything gets pushed so down so low. It's kind of like, I think the 19 bothers them in a way.
I would agree, because it's not shown anywhere.
No.
Anymore. It's not shown anywhere. But people still like subwoofers, man. People still buy subwoofers. We still sell subs, man.
I think they can convince people of not wanting subs, but I think subs are so ingrained that that's a losing battle. Like, there's no way you are going to convince even your own general core audience that subless is the way to go.
Well, technically, you're going against all the formats of surround that's ever been built.
Yeah, unless you have 50s or 90s all around, or not even all around, just a set of them. Like,
based upon no, but for real, you're still going against all the, because even if you had 90s per se, right, you can still buy a subwoofer like one of those that we have. It's the size of a fucking small wine fridge that we have in a theater in the shop. Oh my god, this thing is impossible. And you could tie that with, and in a format it would be supported still. But I think they're out to lunch with the thought that the subwoofers are just going to go by the way of obsolescence.
I mean, also, in their sort of view of making shit, right? Like, are you going to make a Mozart sub? Like why?
That's
like, a control panel on your subwoofer? Like, if you connect nothing, you just hear... Yeah. Like, literally. Like, have the experience of music like your neighbors having a party.
No, but I think that they should I honestly, I don't understand why that. I don't think it was even considered to have the ability to tie in, the 19 to, let's say, Beolab 8s or 28s, and I think that would help the sales quite a bit. Yeah,
I mean,
Stefan, no regrets in the 19. Of course, there's no regrets in the 19. It's a great speaker. It's just it's completely undersold and under promoted from B&O, and further in time we pass since it's been released. It's less and less shown because, like I said, in my opinion, B&O is moving away from the subwoofer, not technologies, but subwoofer concept.
I'm facing one of these internal dilemmas of like, I have a 19 and I like it a lot, right? But I have literally no need for it.
Don't fucking.
But I
get
also
rid of
kind
it,
of don't want to sell it. But maybe I should, just to be like responsible adult for a change.
Fuck, I'll trade you those Lab 1s and some cash for it. Hang on to it.
Well, get your ass over here then.
I'm trying. Fuck. But yeah, I don't. I would never. If I were a CEO of Bang & Olufsen, I would never even consider taking the subwoofer out of portfolio. So.
Matthew says, Mickey, do you have no need for the 19? Then the YouTube decides with 450s. Do you think? No, it's not for the living room. It would be for the bedroom. Because I may go full on crazy like my Finnish friend, where like everything must be surround sound in every room. Like even the guest room, like I could go surround sound. Because what if my guests like are sick of me at the evening or are so drunk and just want to watch a movie? Surely they must have surround sound.
Have a Deepwater Horizon on a loop on a USB stick. I'll come over. But yeah, I think it's gonna sting a little bit in the sales. I don't think honestly that we're gonna feel it because Kareem's a machine. He's just like I said a number of times, I've never met a better salesman when it comes to B&O. That sometimes I'm just like, how the fuck do you do that, bro?
Being good
Lady
at what you
comes
do.
to change batteries in the BO4. She walks out with the fucking theater, man. How do you do that?
Just being good at what you do.
Being
also,
excellent
like
at what you do is hilarious, man.
Since I have you for a few minutes, I can show you some shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like none of this battery changing is to the point where like I can't talk to you. You can just Have you checked out this? I thought this might be up your alley since you have the house with blah blah blah, right? Like
She still did leave with the remote and the new batteries, but only for the time being. The installation was scheduled. That told me like a drunk John. There you go, Stefan's another first-hand example of what happens when you walk into our shop. You will get B&O'd hard. I like it.
Shout out to Mr. BioZip on our Discord. So many people have.
Oh my god, almost forgotten about the guy. I've received the package.
Sweet.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, Thorsten. I really appreciate it. And I put the pen away because it's like a collector's pen, right? I asked him about a pen to see if he's got one or not, and he said he doesn't because they're all gone. So he was kind enough and nice enough to send me his own personal one. I never asked for it, but this is it. And that's a proper installer pen because it's got a bubble level in it.
Yeah.
And it fucking works good.
That's
amazing. I compared it one with the Milwaukee, and it's actually on the. I still can't just put a pen on and like, oh yeah, that's level, because people are gonna look at you like, okay, come on, bro. But
no, they thought of shit.
But that's and it's still right, Thorsten. You were saying that there's no
as long as you don't
it, but it works.
Go like, see, now my pen is bendy like that.
That's right.
Old child trick.
The only thing that this pen will be signing is my my visa documents to move to the US. That's basically what I'm keeping
Make
it
sure
for.
your signature is straight.
That's exactly. So to straighten things out.
I think Mr. BeoZip still has a few left, few openers. So if you DM him, I think you only pay for postage, which, depending on where you live, is not that much. And if you live in the US, it's like maybe a tenner, if that. I don't even, like, it depends. I think he lives in Germany, so...
Yes.
Like, if I remember, for like Dutch mail to the US was way cheaper than the other way around. But if you would like some bottle openers,
Fuck, if you're a collector, man, the red ones you cannot get, because these are, I would presume, like 80s.
Yeah.
Like, this is 80s or early 2000 when they had the black book. And yeah, they don't glue them like that anymore. Now it's just the O, and the rest is slivered into the sleeve. So yeah, very nice piece of history. I appreciate that a lot.
He offered out the blue, and I always feel bad taking offers from members, because, like, I did this shit for free, man. And, like, thank you ever so much for people wanting to make the community better.
Exactly.
Like, that means so much, quite literally.
We're all cool here.
Yeah, I'm just very happy Mr. BeoZip made so many people also so happy. It's like, yes, it's the most common B&O thing, but it's also the most special B&O thing. Because you kind of only get it if you, like, if your dealer really likes you, or if you are able to go to Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people around the world, that's like, if you're in North America or Southern Europe, right? It's not like, oh, let's go to Denmark. Like, it's not that easy.
It's a trip, and then you damn better book a Legoland trip at that point. Call this.
Yeah, and then you get there and you have Danish prices, and you go, God damn it! It's like a beer is like $10, $15 in a normal place, right? And it's not that expensive, I'm told. It's like,
no. To me, 7-Eleven became my embassy and Burger King, because that was the only two things I recognized in the whole place when I was in Copenhagen.
Yeah, and then you have all these people go,
yeah. I was there probably through one of the best times there was, even though there was like a terrorist attack in England at the time in 2015. But it was the Denmark World Cup soccer versus Summon. Man, I've never seen, holy shit balls, man. The Copenhagen downtown was just pumping. Even though when they scored the goal and the Denmark lost, you could just, like, the whole city just wilted for a few seconds, and then party started anyways. Yeah, that was one of the greatest times. It was also the time when I met Thorsten Valur.
We have to go to Legoland here in Florida.
Oh, for sure.
Legoland here in Florida is something like 4 times the size of Legoland in Denmark.
Well, yeah, I know, but like, to go to the original one and you see, like, the builds that have been there for decades, right? Because they got them coated with that polyurethane, whatever, so it doesn't deteriorate from sun. It was cool, like, you go for beers. Yeah, it's for kids and shit, but like, I've grown up with Lego my entire life. Like, that was my toy. Actually, what's funny? I think I showed this on the other podcast. This is my first Lego that I've ever got. This is 40 years old, because I got it when I was 3. And I still have the damn thing.
Oh, by the way, in the summer, I'll have 2 weeks where I won't be doing anything because my niece will be over. And she's 4.5 now. So.
Oh, yeah.
So
you're gonna have your hands full.
Apparently, I must throw all the women in the swimming pool, according to her, because all little girls need to be thrown into the water. And she included my sister in that. She literally went like, "Mom, you're a little girl."
Okay, so you're asking any new Lego sets. You know what? I am actually, maybe today I will go to Carrefour Mall and I'm gonna buy myself the new Audi e-tron. the Speed Champions that came out, because I have the old S1 Rally Edition from the 80s, and now they have the e-tron one. Which is, what's funny about these e-trons and shit? That thing in real life, like it is an electric car, right? But it also has a S5 engine inside it to charge the batteries.
Yeah. Well, it's a
So how
Dakar
electric
car.
is it? Yeah. But how electric is it? Well, obviously, you don't have any charging stations in the middle of the desert.
Yeah,
But,
you also don't have the infrastructure to charge it in the middle of the desert.
But why would they call it electric? It's a freaking hybrid then, no?
Yeah, but their e-tron brand for on the road is fully electric, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just the race rally car needs something. But, I mean, God, so this summer I have to go to Disney, but Disney is like 80% the size of London.
My buddy Nathan just came back from Disneyland. They've been there for 2 weeks. And I think you need about that to walk the damn place.
Yeah, it's literally 80% the size of London. It's
That's
enormous. Like, it's like 2-3 times the size of Amsterdam.
Jesus Christ. And the lines everywhere. I'm going to make another coffee.
Well, I have a friend which still works there, so we can get like VIP tickets where essentially you have the pleb line and then the speed line.
Nice.
I mean, you still have a line, but instead of like being 500th in line, you're like 5th. Like it's enormous. If you wanted to, you can actually like rent golf carts, so you don't have to walk like 8 miles a day.
Done, bro. I would definitely rent one for sure. And they're so much fun. Do you have A1?
What do you mean?
Speaker?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hang it in the middle of the parking brake.
I was thinking like A1. A1 is also steak sauce here. Like, where are you going with this?
No, it's a BeoTalk, bro. I'm talking Gordon Ramsay call this.
Yeah, it's also Lego talk.
You can also hang the A1. That's what we did in Dominican.
Maybe we have to.
Awesome.
Maybe in like a year or so, when the prices really go crazy with another 10-15%, we have to be all modern and transition into Lego talk.
For God's sake, you're competing with a lot of nerds out there, man. Tell you what.
Well, I still have to build my Saturn V Lego. I still have it in a box somewhere.
You never built it?
No, because I was moving within like 6 months. Like, I didn't feel like taking it all apart again.
Oh, shit. It's a modular, bro. Just like the real rocket. It's got 3 modules in it.
Yeah, but you know how these international shippers are. Like, God. Like one of our lamps, right? Like one of our ceiling hanging chandelier kind of lamps. They literally rolled it out of the back of the truck. And then you just hear the glass going clinking, clinking.
Tumbling? Oh, no.
It's like, God. Like, they didn't stop either, right? When that sound was heard. Like, they just rolled it another 6 to 9 feet or something.
He's paid to get it off the truck, not give a shit about it, more or less. That's,
I
think, what the problem is. But,
God, it's awful.
That's the shipping companies.
So I'm going to build my Saturn V pretty soon, because, like, everybody needs a Saturn V, right? That has B&O.
It's a good scale reference, too, for speakers. You put it beside them. No, it's a nice set. I'm not really into those space sets. I don't even know why I bought this, but I bought it, I guess, because everybody has one. As far as the B&O people, they put it beside the 8000s or whatnot. So, yeah.
But it's like, I don't know what it is, but I think it's probably because similar people are attracted to the brand. Like 80% of the people that have B&O have an Eames chair.
Mm-hmm.
Be it real or fake, but it's the design.
It's there.
Right? Yeah,
it's there.
It's somehow like, because the amount of people, even on the BioWorld days that I saw, that had a Saturn V just sitting in their living room, was like, how the hell? Like, because BioWorld, I mean, it was around, but it wasn't like Lego orientated necessarily. Mm-hmm. But it was kind of crazy how, like,
I guess it goes with all the overall Danish influence once you start, with a little bit of B&O. I started with B&O. I never was like really into the furniture and all this shit, right? But then, you put this nice TV in the house, and you're like, well, this fucking IKEA stuff looks kind of bunk beside it, man. Okay, so all right, now I'm gonna be bleeding some money. So then you go and you buy a nice chair, and you buy this and you buy that, and over time you realize that, man, like I spend just as much on furniture as on B&O at some points.
Yeah,
But you go
well,
for more of a design, like you go, I don't know. I Everything in my old apartment were Scandinavian inspired, more or less, and mostly the furniture was Herman Miller, well, which is like mid-century and North American or American style, right? But it's still timeless.
by the way, I don't know how many people caught it, missed it, saw it. BioWorld was for sale, put up for sale like a month ago, month and a half ago.
Oh, really? Hey,
Yeah,
Steve.
and our friends over at Multicare, recognized repair center in the UK, bought it. So,
Oh, yeah.
congratulations on continuing BioWorld.
Yeah, and thank you for
Yeah.
keeping it alive.
So, once there
Beer
is,
World took a lot of hits, though, in my opinion, over time when it comes to the popularity. Like
absolutely.
it used to be such a go-to site, and I don't know what happened, and it just kind of fell apart.
I mean, I want to help them. So, like, they were. I was speaking, I think, to Mark as well. Like Steve said, they're very good guys. Like for like, what would you say, for like the prize draws, right? Because as a new startup, like what Lee did was fucking crazy. Every quarter, like a few hundred, if not £1,000 of just prizes.
Hmm.
Like it was basically a charity at that point. So since this is now going to new ownership, it was like I offered me, but probably if you feel like the same thing, like it could be a prize if people want to chat to us for in private for however long.
Yeah,
I mean, because
we haven't done a giveaway for a long time. I think I'll wait 12 more episodes, and we'll do something nice
I
for
also
the big 300.
I don't see our Discord as a Be a World competitor. Like I want to be bros, right? Like we're family essentially. Like
I don't see them as a competitor at all. I see them more or less as a well of information that
yeah.
is lapsed or missing on other platforms like our Discord per se, or overall on B&O support, because B&O support is very vague in some senses.
I mean, it's just like skinny play, like the whole like B&O is niche, but anything attached to it is ultra niche.
Exactly.
And I want, if we can at all make it happen, I want to keep it all alive.
Same here.
I mean, and like skinny play, kind of if you use the link and promo code, you get 10% off, which is rather nice. And this is not like some sort of shilling. Like, I just want them to survive. Like I want Multicare to survive.
Help us help
want,
them, basically.
yeah. I mean, if I'll try to get them on the show at some point once they like, or maybe like a personal interview or like a standalone thing.
I wouldn't mind at all. It'd be nice.
I mean,
Also, if you want to help us out, throw up some likes. There's 47 of you watching. We only got 9.
that shows
Give us some
22 on
boost,
my end, but it's not even half.
boost some algorithms over here. So, but yeah, there was a question about 8000s and 8002s. What's the difference? It's just the ice power amps that are a difference. That are different in them. The look is the same, other than the status light for the standby is moved lower. And arguably, some people find the old 8000 sounding warmer because of the analog-ish amps versus the ice power amps, which sound a little more clinical. But that also depends on your taste, I guess.
And
If
what you attach them to.
And what you attach them to. And if you have a set of 8000s, then stick to the 8000s as well. But if you
I mean, if you connect 8000s to like a BIOS system 6500 or whatever, the BioMaster 6500, they'll sound way different than if you connect them to like a BV11.
Yes.
And it's irrespective of what amps are in there. Like if you have the AB amp or the digital amp, either will sound different.
But they are still good speakers.
I mean, when I had the BioMaster 5000 in my 5500 Biogram, etc., my 50 sounded kind of woolly in a nice way.
Interesting.
But it's also an amp and a sound signature from like what, 30 years
30
ago?
years ago,
If
yeah.
not longer. Like, and adding loudness to that was fucking crazy. Like, it changed so much. It was unreal, to the point where it was kind of unpleasant, like on 50s.
Yeah, because 50 can definitely boost. But then again, like, those systems were designed back in a day when the bass was more or less non-existent in the music, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, they needed to boost it harder in order for you to feel it. Where nowadays, like, you can't afford to even run around with loudness in certain places because it's just way too much. Like, even I do agree with Steve when he did the video about the Emerge. I turned the loudness off on my Emerge. It's just, it sounds much more natural.
I think it's a Mozart thing. Because
I think so too.
Because the loudness being on is a B&O thing from years past. But somehow with Mozart, it's almost like you have double loudness.
It really juices it on the bottom end.
Yeah, and like with the 28s, I don't like loudness being on, especially at like lower volumes, because all you hear is bass. I think Matthew said, Mickey, I know you have a bunch of 17s. Any new thoughts on getting 8s? Yeah, I'm not in a rush at all. Like, I also at the moment, don't know where to put them, other than make another bedroom surround.
For me, you know what, the sad part about the 8s, that they're kind of a waste when you use them for ceiling heights or whatever, because then you lose that beautiful interface that they have. You know, like, you might as well just get something that is dumb.
Look,
for the tops.
I can put them in my kitchen, right? Because I have 3 countertops. I have like the main, an island, and then on a wall. And then I have like an 8 and an 8. But I have a BioSound 2 sitting there, which is taller and like shiny aluminium, and it looks lovely. Like, I guess I can put 8s there, but like in the kitchen, it's kind of overkill, like excessively so.
I think in the kitchen, what you should put is the bloody BioSound 2.
Yeah, that's
because that kind of looks like a kitchen appliance or a big kettle per se.
So I mean, and God, currently, because I still have to put in a window seal, like on the other end of that same wall, the A5 is in the kitchen as well.
So you have more than enough, and you can join them together.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where.
Yeah, but it's also like, you know, the question is, what does so much to say about the loudness? And Steve has a very good answer. It's just, you know, nobody would tell you how much salt to put on your steak, and it's the same thing, or your food per se. But it's not. It's a personal preference, man. It's a very much a personal preference of how much you like the bass, how much you don't like the bass, and you know, some people that I've seen, that they buy the speakers and they go full bore on treble and full bore on bass because that's how they grown up, that everything has to be boosted. And like, what are you doing? So
if you ever sit down with Jeff and you have questions about sound, first, I think for most people he's going to be annoying as shit, because you think, why are you evading my questions? But he's actually being as direct as he can be, because there is no golden answer, as much as, because you're fishing. Most people will be fishing for something they want to hear. But it's what you want to hear. It doesn't necessarily correlate to what you like most. Because like most people will think like the flattest sound signature is the best. But is it?
Yeah.
If that makes you not turn it on, it's not good.
Hmm. Interesting question. Is it possible to use BeoSystem 4 with a non-BNO with ARC? Natively, no. But if I were to go about it, I would put an audio HDMI audio extractor between the ARC and the BeoSystem 4 and hook it up through the SPDIF. That's kind of hanky panky, but that's probably the only solution you would have in order to feed sound from your TV's native apps into the system. Question is,
That
how
is
would you set this up
multi-channel.
in the menu that it would work? I think you could do it on some of the inputs where you put an SPDIF as a instead of HDMI sound in to do an SPDIF. But that would be your only hope that you can do that. The sound will not be delayed.
Unless your TV delays it.
But
Like the
you
B&O
can.
sound side will be okay. Whatever
I don't.
other TV you use. If you're gonna be this janky with it, I would say get an Armando box of whichever variety suits your needs.
Yes.
It works way better. It has HDMI. It's made for this. Yes, you don't have the profiles, but you can sort of emulate them. And it's sort of like just set and forget.
And if you wanted part of the BeoLink multi-room system, then just tie in a core into it, and then you can play. You can join it through the core as an input. That's what we do also here. If people want, and also I do attest to the fact that if you put in a core RCA RJ45 to RCA out, and you feed it into the line input of an Almando, it sounds better than when you stream that same music, let's say through Deezer app in the Almando box. I find the quality is much more defined through the core going through line in. So, are the speakers on Bio sound
Yeah,
shaped
I was just
good?
gonna say, if I'm gonna put on my Tonmeister hat,
Hat on?
right? Like the
Yeah.
answer would be compared to what?
Right.
Like, and that sounds like evading, right? But like, are they good? Like,
No, but what is your reference point to
yeah,
what's good?
what is the criteria? Like, do they
Hmm.
function? Yes. Do they turn on? Yes. Are they designed with the amp that is in the system? Yes. Do you like
Here's
that? If
Yeah,
the answer is no, then are they good? Is kind of irrelevant, right?
that's right. You erase it all and you start a new flowchart.
I mean, I think so. I don't think they're as necessarily as powerful as most other B&O speakers are. Like,
Which ones?
depending on what you want to do with it, right? Like, if you want a background music on the wall music system, they're excellent for that.
Oh, for the shape?
Yeah, the shape speakers. But if you more want them as rear channels, and you maybe want only 4 of them, I'd say save your money, get 17s and or 3s.
I don't know. I find shape sounds great. We have a 6-speaker shape in the store. I had a 4-speaker shape in my bedroom, which was a little bit of an overkill. But I do have to say that I preferred the shape, and that's not how good of a quality of the speaker drivers are inside, because that's irrelevant really at the end of the day, because they're tuned.
Yeah.
They're tuned with the system. I liked the shape in a stereo mode more than I liked it in the band on the wall with this fictitious speaker 3 preset where it's just too bright in the center, it's just too much from the center and not enough from the sides. The stereo setup worked the best. Now, I had the ability to do it. I didn't do it that way, but if I don't sell the shape and I do it the way
But
I'm planning on doing it,
the
I'm just gonna
caveat
do it in
being,
pure stereo.
the caveat being, you had a 4-speaker shape, right?
That's right.
Not a 6 or 8,
No,
and that
if
may
you go
change
to
the
6 or 8, then it's a problem. Not a problem, but then you don't have the ability to run. If you run a single shape amplifier, you can just run 4 speakers, 2 as a left and 2 as a right, without even a core, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where, well, you still need it for setting up, but you just set them up as stereo and sets up. But if you have 4, I mean, 6 and 8 and further up, you do need the core, and you do need that band on the wall nonsense when you change it to stereo, and then it works no problem.
Unless you set them up as through a TV or something, as all this is left, all this is right from one
Yeah,
amp.
and you run separate power links into each amp. So yeah, that's one way to do it. But at that point,
not a very elegant way to do it, but it works.
No, but it works. You know, you could also go full crazy and then just put a Beolab receiver into each tile and just have that go into.
But the band on the wall thing is much better the more speakers you have.
Yes. 6 speakers, it starts to become a sweet spot.
Yeah.
For that, and 6 to 8, you're starting to do good. But then again, it's
do
a
a
lot
Hendrix
of it.
with like what?
Oh, man,
18, 20 speakers now.
Make your wall of it.
Swiss cheese it up, man.
But that's, you know what? That's got to sound insane in that room.
Yeah.
Straight up insane. I like the shape. It's too bad that it's not being sold as much as it should be, I guess. But shape is, I think, one of the most difficult speaker systems to actually have a client mentally agree on what color scheme they go with. Shape is better to deal with interior designers, because they kind of set the tone with, okay, well, we're gonna go with this and these fabrics, this and these tile colors, or whatever. Shape, you know, you can design blah blah blah, but it's easier, I find, from my personal experience, it's easier when the designer is involved in the shape than people themselves, because it's really hard to pick what you want for tiles and colors. So, but one thing that you can definitely do is tie in a subwoofer into the shape, and that makes it a completely different system. We played with that in the store with Kareem. We put in 1119 on the shape with the 6 tiles, and we had it for like a month, and then I took the speaker out. It was a demo, and I think the 19 got sold, or we moved it to, no, I think we moved it to across to the theater with 18s and a 19 sub. And then we turned on the shape, and we both looked at one and like, oh my god, like it completely shaved the bottom line off of it. But you wouldn't know that unless you put a 19 with the shape and listen to it that way. But then again, it's the same back to the Tonmeister. How much do you prefer of what? So
I made a new poll. If you had to compare prices versus marketing, which is worse? This is obviously a personal question, like to you, right? Like I can't, because I think with how much prices are increasing, are their prices actually worse? Because if they're going after the very high net worth individuals, right? Like their marketing is still kind of shit.
Moonlight, if you want some background speaker, you let's say buy Beolab 15s. I think Beolab 15s is going to be a very, very hard find to get a proper system, because those speakers also run with that BeoAmp 1 or Amplifier 1, which was designed specifically for them. And also the wiring is completely different, because you need a 4-conductor speaker wire into each speaker, plus a Cat7 cable to measure the impedance from each speaker to the amp. And you need a service tool to set this all up, and also the tilt levels. So Beolab 15s at this point of time, if you can find them, good for you, but you are going to have to get your dealer involved in order to set them up. Beobox 2s or Celestials,
Easy peasy.
I would go easy peasy Japanese, man.
Celestials are quite good, actually, especially if you have the back box.
Yes. And then you can go full crazy and buy the B&O girls for $700 a pop before they go up in prices. So, but those grills are absolutely mesmerizing. We have a sample in the shop, and it's just the way that is machined, man. Whoever designed that and like to make the CAD file for that, yeah, it was impressive. They're impressive grills, very, very nice. And it's one of those that, you know what, Hell, if you spend the money, those grills will never get dented. And if they do that, I don't know what the fuck you're doing in your house that you like popping shit into the ceilings.
I don't know. Maybe you have an indoor padel court or something with,
Mhm.
or an indoor squash court or something with them.
What's the price of 8 and 10-inch celestials? I couldn't even begin to lie to you, my friend. I am we have really never sold them. Guys like the Canton, and since the Quebecson as a shop used to be a I think they were a distributor for Canada or US also at some point of time. So the Canton really dies hard in our company, and that's what we use mostly. But in my personal experience, Canton versus we've had a couple jobs where they spec Powers and Wilkins into the rear channels as surround in ceilings, and they sounded absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. Better than the Canton. But when it comes to Celestials, I haven't really heard them. So I
I
can't really
have. They
comment on it.
they sound quite good.
Well, if they're driven through the BNO amp and all, then I'm sure that the acoustic signature is going to be there.
One of the hard things to say what they cost, right, is that it changes so much on where your amp sits, how long your wire needs to be to pull that wire, what amp you use. Do you use the BeoAmp 2 or 16, or do you use something else?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want it integrated with a core or with a TV? Like, you can probably say that the smaller driver is probably around $1,000, maybe $1,200 or something. But like, do you want the standard grills? Do you want the B&O grills? Like, if you want the B&O grills, let's say they are $1,200. With B&O grills, they're instantly $2,000. So the amount of choice makes it very hard to give you like a fast price that is solid, right? Because every variable changes it quite drastically.
Yes. And that's it. And also what your interior is like. If you have glass everything and so on and so forth, then nothing will sound good because of the reflections and stuff. It's gonna just kill it.
I mean, do you want them in an apartment like my old one was, where all the walls are concrete, like including the ceiling? Because that's gonna
That's
cost
gonna
you a
sound different.
few grand in just pulling the cables.
Oh fuck. I think at that point you're better off lowering the ceiling by, let's say, 10 centimeters and putting
Exactly,
the
but
speakers.
like that's also going to be
It's
a few
still a
grand.
cost. Yeah, it's still a cost and a mess like a son of a bastard.
So like, it's too hard to say because it's not as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Easiest and cheapest is BeoVox 2s. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Especially if you live in
look,
North America with gypsum walls.
put them on a passive kit if you want to save a little bit of cash. They'll sound great.
Do BeoVox 2s need a back box?
They had them at some point. They all had back boxes.
So if you
could
can't
order
get
from
them, I
B&O.
would just say like cut out a bigger bit and put like braces in wherever
You can
put
get
them.
those. I know it's like an Amazon solution, but you can get those cheaper, like the inflatable back boxes that you can put in, and you can peel them around the speaker hole, and at least you can contain most of it.
Like it's not mandatory to work without it, but you're gonna get significant response differences in the drivers depending on how big the back spacing is. That's why you want it roughly equal.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying to like Moonlight, and like they'll work fine without, right? But depending on things, you may have one that is much more bassy than the other, and it's literally the cavity that's on the back of the driver.
At the end of the day, my personal point of view on that is if you're putting speakers in the ceiling, you're not about the quality of the imaging. It's a background music noise. It's something that you want that hopefully doesn't rattle in the ceiling. It doesn't rattle with your.
Did you mute yourself again? I didn't mute you, did I? Oh, he's on the phone probably. So yeah, Celestials they do have an MSRP. I think
There we
the
go.
BNO the 8-inch I think is 1,300 €1,400, but I'm not. I don't think that's with a grill. Like the 10-inch, I think is over two. But then you get into the wiring, your quality wiring. You need an amp. You need it's
The core.
yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah, it
over on
really depends. Personally, I would rather. I'm not a biggest fan of the in-ceiling speakers for a number of reasons. I would rather have, if I was in a kitchen and do I put in-ceiling speakers? Hell no, I would put a BeoSound 2 in the kitchen. A, it's nice looking. B, if you don't like it where it is in that corner, you can move it to the other corner. If you have, if you're, let's say you're doing a large cooking or something, you can move it away, put it on the island, play it from there. Doesn't matter. It's still a great sound. I'm not a big fan of the in-ceiling speakers, and I'm not a big fan of them also from the I guess the scarring of being an installer, where you always combat the fucking thing with pot lights to make them line up properly, and the contractors don't give a shit about you, and so and the wires sometimes get caught or buried by the drywallers, or screw goes through them. It's I don't like it.
if you're
I don't
retrofitting
like
it and
the
you
in
can do it
ceilings.
yourself, I wouldn't be that opposed to it. So, but that's if you can do it
But
yourself,
then it's
right?
also still like, yeah, everybody can kind of hole in the wall, but it's like we do a lot of retrofitting as well, and there's Max is one of the installers that I work with. And this guy is a fucking Houdini when it comes to the in-ceiling speakers. Like I've never met anybody that can do this better. Like it doesn't matter. He just figures out how, and I can't do it that well for one and only reason. Since the accident, I can't keep my hands above my head for more than a few seconds, or not even half a minute at the most, and the nerves just go. So I can't do that. That's the only limitation that I have with playing with the in-ceiling speakers. But yeah, they're not fun. They're not fun ever. And depends where. Old homes here, oh my god, when you have the lattice and the mesh and all that nonsense on the ceiling, it's an absolute disaster.
Yeah, and that's in the perfect setup with drywall walls and
Mm.
ceilings and stuff.
I've never come across as much hassle with in-ceiling speakers being put in here or in Montreal. Is like I never done that in Calgary because everything's a new build. So that's it. Not just looking forward
Matthews,
to the new.
yeah, and Sandeep asked, "What do you expect to bring over the existing core?" I, I, I don't. I more am interested in what will the price be. Looking at history, I think 20% more in price, even if it doesn't do much extras, right?
Mm.
Like because that's everything is just going up like crazy, so it's gonna be what $1,200.
It's gonna be a Mozart though. I'm certain of it. It has to be.
Well, everything's Mozart. That's new.
But I don't know. I personally think that it should have had a little more functionality in it than it is. But I don't want to really get into it now because it hasn't been released yet. I know, you know,
Yeah,
about it.
but that's where I'm guessing at, right? Like, uh, the more important thing is the pricing for most people.
It's gonna
Because
be a few $100 more, if not $100 more than the old core. I don't think they can really swing it more higher for functionality they get in it.
well, whether they can as we think it versus what they will actually do are two different things, in my opinion.
I think. Oh well, you also need to understand that they're gonna leave themselves some room to price increase that in a few months too, right? So I think you're gonna have the first adopter pricing. My guess would be 1,200, and by the year's end, we're gonna be looking at it about $1,500.
Yeah.
or 1350. That's my guess as far as the price increase, or uh, what would you call it? Yeah, the pricing avenue for that is what would be
The
projections.
the core has been this price for like 6 months now, if not 9.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, before that it was 1,000. So it's always been expensive for what it is. So
Yes.
I don't like, unless they really come out of left field, and I would applaud it, right? If they keep the new one the same price with more functionality, whatever that may be, fantastic.
Mm.
So I mean, everything's expensive. Everything is silly.
I, there was this question earlier in the chat that if there's another question in a comment, I think it was Sandeep or somebody that said that it would be nice if the new core supported surround speakers from the, I guess, the cash and carry, the like the emerge and the level and whatnot. Hypothetically speaking, let's say that that is true, that that comes out as a functionality. How much do you think that would affect the sales of surround speakers per se, or even the sales of the theater or a stage? You know. And also the question is, how many speakers could you tie into that system as far as the, could you do a center channel? Are you going to have four
That's what I
emerges
was.
and a level?
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, what do you mean by surround? 5.1,
Yeah.
7.1,
Well,
4.0.
5.1 would be the most basic, right? Like, let's just say, or 5.0. Like regular, like that's most of the Netflix shit is it's around, right? It's 5 channel music or 5 channels feed. So
I don't see that happening.
well, they're saying that they're not using all the processing power in the Mozart platform as of now. So is that where that would tax it out to the full potential? God knows. Also, the question comes like, what if you have one immersion, one level, like I have? Can I tie them in together?
If you are as the manufacturer, sort of setting the rules and guidelines for what your customers should and shouldn't do, like B&O does, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think they should allow that.
Mm.
Like, insist on at least pairs of whatever.
I would assume that would be the smartest way to go about it.
Because you're gonna have a shit experience. Let's say you have a
A balance and an
balance,
emerge.
an A9, an emerge, and a level. You're gonna have a shit experience.
Yeah, there's no way. There's
No.
no way.
So, I mean, people will say, "Oh, it's controlling. Why won't they let me?" It's because it's gonna be shit, and I'm not against limiting in that sense.
I'm not against I'm actually pro limiting the experience, where you're limiting and eliminating the negative of that experience. You know.
Yeah.
So I would, I would still do a, like, let's say if you have a pair of emerges, you can tie them into the, well, not the theater, because obviously that doesn't do that, but that would be sick if it did that, because I would probably just buy another emerge and put it in as rear channels, have the 18s in the front. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
But only the future will tell. I tell you what, one thing that I know for sure, it's not going to be a smooth ride right out of the garage with that core. I guarantee you that. It's never been like that.
Depends on what you want to do with it, I guess.
I just, you know what I mean? It's going to be the same. You drive your new car out, and first thing you do, you curb the wheels on the dealership curb. So that's going to be the same with the core. There's going to be some glitching, and there's going to be some. I don't want to be the negative Nancy about it, but I know that I know it's a new product. It's the same thing. Like Lab 8 came out, it was Mozart based, and they still had issues with the dropout. Still another fix came within their exact same scenario. I mean, the patch had to be done for the Lab 8s for dropping out. So but the beta journey will be there. Sandeep already has, drank his cup of acceptance too. So
No, I understand, but they have gotten a lot better from the first iteration of Mozart versus even the
by a long
eights.
shot.
I mean, the
By a
eights
long
were
shot.
nowhere near as clunky initially as the 28s.
No.
Just like when the Eclipse launched the Mark One, it was really, really clunky. And then when the Harmony came, it just sort of worked, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of expect a similar progression, and by the time there is no clunkiness of a new product, they end the whole line and they come out with the Beethoven platform or whatever.
Oh yeah, I wonder what the next is gonna be. I think Mozart's gonna be here for a decade, if not longer.
Yeah, like the AC platform, that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
I just don't know what to improve on it. Like, how would you improve? Like, as far as like, okay, let's just iron out the bugs and all that. Like, if it works like a well-oiled engine, why would you fix it? There would be nothing to fix,
Because
if it works,
because innovation sells quite often.
yeah, fair enough.
Like nobody gives a shit about your tap water coming out the tap all the time, right? That's just expected.
Mm-hmm.
But if you now have one of these cooker taps that can instantly do cold, chilled water, but also if you turn the knob the other way, it's boiled water. It's like, ooh.
Fair. But yeah, I'm looking forward to at least the replacement of the core, because that product has been around for a long, long time.
Moonlight asked, will they release a new Beolab? Maybe, but I kind of don't see it with the A5.
Personally, I think the A5 is your next Beolab.
Yeah.
Because it's got identical functionality to the Beolab plus the Mozart experience off of it.
Network attached.
It's network attached. It works with everything else. It's got the
better battery, better charger.
It's better all around, and I don't think they're going to revisit the picnic basket anymore. They already made another one, and I think that you will never see another Beolab ever again. At least not from the Beolab species. Maybe they will call something else a Beolab, as they called BeoSound 1 and 2 from 20 years ago, which is funny because it's still confusing to some people, especially when an older client comes in. I have a BeoSound 2. I'm like, okay, well, BeoSound 1, well, which one do you have? What do you mean? Right? So, but I think there is I think that the Beolab 20 has its days numbered out.
Well, the Beolab 17 and Beolab 20 were identical except for extra features, right? Like the driver package was the same between 17 and 20. That's why you can stereo pair them. The A5 is quite different, and in my opinion, sounds better. It's not as bassy, but then again, a Beolab was ridiculously bassy.
Yes.
It was sort of Beats by B&O. And A5 sort of still is, but it's not as beatsy.
Which one? The A5?
Yeah, the A5 is not...
I find A5 sounded very clean.
Yeah. I mean, I like
okay.
it. Also, with stuff just being more expensive, like, why would they build a similar chassis, whatever, at a lower price? I don't see them doing that anymore.
Yeah. No, I
they
think
may, but I mean, maybe wrong. Like, I don't have a list of their whole upcoming portfolio, right? And if I did, I wouldn't tell you.
But I doubt they would revisit the Beolab 20 or a Beolab altogether, given the A5's functionality now and whatever. Like, the only way that you could really improve that is put a SIM card slot in it so you can have its own data plan and take it out anywhere. That's a thought.
Yeah, I mean, a Beolab was 500 something euro, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
God, I still hate these fucking fake deals. Buy two and pay twice. Like,
right?
What's the incentive?
Free shipping. I don't know. It makes no sense. You can buy them as a stereo. So
But compared
there
to where
should be a
everything else is, I don't think the price is too extravagant for what it is. Like, that's where they want to be anyway. It also stops them from having to raise the prices every 3 months.
yeah. This hasn't been hit yet so far. I
No,
wonder when. Wonder if they're gonna hit it. But the aluminium one is more expensive. I think it's what 1,200,
1500 US.
1,500. It
But
looks the bomb.
are we actually expecting, if they were to make a new Beolab, right? Are we expecting that to be at the 500 range still? Like, no, it's going to be 750, something like
That's what I
that.
was gonna say. Is you're looking at $750 at least.
And it's going to be all plastic compared to this. So again, then you have two products that are really close together, and they probably can already tell that the A5 kind of killed off the level in many ways, because
Yes.
those are also similarly close together, but you get more volume out of an A5, which is not crazy. Obviously, it's much larger. And then you have
It's much more bass rich. Though the level sounds more accurate because it's a 5-speaker system basically, right?
Mhm.
And a front firing 5-speaker system. But yeah, you can't really juice it more past 50, 65, 60, I would say would be the volume where the ABL starts to really limit the thing. I took the level home from the shop and I paired it with mine just for the shits and giggles to because I never heard them in stereo. Well, I did a long, long time ago at Nick's place because Nick has a level as well, so we paired them up. I was blown away actually by how good it sounds. I would compare them all, not in a definition of the sound, but with volume and power, it's a pair of 4,000s
Yeah,
with obviously much cleaner sound than the
at like a
4,000s ever
third of
have.
the size, which is
Yes,
impressive.
but that's about as close as I would go with that comparison. But the level, I have one. I don't really have a purpose for it. It served its purpose, I guess, for the first few months I lived here because that was the only stereo I had. But then once the theater became it, and I pulled out the 18s from the storage, this kind of went to the wayside, and not
Also,
enough room in the bathroom for it.
the Beolab as we currently know it is kind of a product that came out of going to the lower end of the market to save the company,
Yes,
which apparently they're now saying that they don't want to do anymore, like because you're not wealthy enough or something.
that's still Tuomo Antoni's legacy, basically.
Yeah.
The Beolab
So
12, for God's sakes. It's
also
been around
in the
for
sort
a long
of
time.
the sort of statement of intent of where they want to go, it makes no real sense to go under an A5. Like, I hate to say this, right? Because I kind of like it, and it was a good way to get, like, for lack of a better term, like college kids into B&O. But
Yes.
apparently now the college kids also have to be like, I don't know, on daddy's credit card or something, and not just like, oh, this is an emergency thing. No, like you have like a 10 grand spending limit a month kind of credit card.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, but that's we don't see many students in our shop. I tell you that. But a lot of that, I guess, more or less the reason why we don't see it and we see more returns than sales is because they buy it online.
Yeah, Amazon and the like.
Yeah, which that's a whole topic on its own as far as the price differences between how much they lowball B&O dealers in some things. It's just not cool.
Oh, it's also the amount, like Amazon buys an enormous volume in one go, right? Like that
Yes.
dealers just won't. And also, Amazon is the type of company that is perfectly happy with like a 5% margin after cost, whereas like as a dealer, like God, you're still becoming poorer when you do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. But it also mows the lawn for the dealers, right? Because then they look like thieves. Like,
Yeah, so
wow, why can I not buy this on Amazon for 25% less? What the fuck? Why are you guys selling this for that much money? And as a dealer, what do you say?
So
So
yeah, I don't know what to say. Like Moonlight says, he's 19 and his friends don't know anything about B&O. I'm not surprised.
neither am I at all.
Like their Instagram game is not very strong.
No. But I have Beolab 9s. There you go. So then they know what the B&O is if they ever been to your place and listened to it. But I'm sure that they would have never discovered it unless they sat in an Audi
Yeah, but
or a Ford.
currently, if you're not, I don't know, let's say you're between 18 and 25. If you look at anything B&O, any speaker related, the cheapest is what? Beolab 8 and then 18. And it's like,
Out of reach. Yeah, I'm back into the days when I used to look at it like I'll never be able to afford that. When I got a job in the architectural firm, like, okay, I'm buying a TV without my wife knowing.
yeah. But nowadays, B&O is like,
Anyway.
when are you buying your next TV? Next month, right? Surely you have that sort of money.
Yeah.
Surely you have
But it's
another
not
room.
even their TVs anymore, Like it's just they're all about the speakers now. Which I like because
Yeah, it's
they're
not a bad
it
thing.
used to be a headphone company that made speakers. Remember, there was a period of time when they had their headphones. Whoever was in charge of that finally left the company. Of hopefully
Yeah,
or
2017
good
to
demoted.
about 2021.
Yeah, it was a angry vegan headphone game, and not a big fan of that. Where they finally realized, and then I think they should showcase more of the Lab 90s. I mean, Lab 90s, Lab 8s as a new product because 90s obviously they never really promoted them, even though they still are the pinnacle of their competences. 50s are not really promoted much.
According to Sandeep on the track side of Ferrari Formula One race, I guess this year is the good year because Formula One has 23 races this year. So, but then again, you have to sell an awful lot of them before like moving all that shit around makes monetary sense, right?
Yeah.
Because God, you need at least 3 people to send around the world constantly, effectively. Because like you need at a minimum 2 people to carry these bloody things.
What?
90's around the Ferrari paddock and whatnot.
Oh fuck, 2 people, man. That's a 3-person job.
Yeah, so you need at least 3 people to just log this shit around everywhere.
90s are not fun with 2 people. Well, they're fun with 2 people if you don't have no stairs or any incline that requires a step. But there's still an incline that requires a step when you're trying to put them in the box or on the pallet and box them around, or and vice versa when you're undoing them. And yeah, it's a lengthy process. Like those speakers are 4-hour deal to set up minimum and tuned, which I don't know how you tune them in the paddocks with all these noises and shit going on in there. You show up at midnight and tune them, or you just run them on a default, Jeff Martin listening room preset.
Maybe they can put them in the hospitality track thing because they have these extendable homes, right? Where it's literally 2 or 3 stories and like 3 trailers wide, and it's quite enormous. But that's a lot of work, a lot of man hours of just logging your shit around.
That's why I think the 50s would be the top. And if not, like maybe 28s would be something more friendly to lug around and display and showcase because they're just, you can actually build a little transport box for those speakers.
I mean, I guess if B&O is still Ferrari's sponsor next year when Lewis Hamilton joins, and Lewis Hamilton already is a B&O enjoyer, it turns out George Russell at Mercedes is as well. I mean, he may have been infected through Lewis, who knows?
You never know.
Because I think like one of these GQ magazine interviews, Russell was saying like how much he liked the Emerge. Which is like, it's good, but it's like you're sort of. I don't think it was paid because like Bose is the sponsor of Mercedes, so you're kind of banking on word of mouth again from like important or influential people.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they're going with it, brother. But I know for a fact that the trees going taller and taller, and the branches are harder to reach, and all the product on them.
Yeah.
But
Actually, maybe been Alonso, because I think Russell and Alonso are friends, and Alonso is also a B&O aficionado. So
I'm sure a lot of those guys have something with B&O to do over there on their private life or in their private life.
well, it's also a lot easier if you make that sort of money, but there's just not that many people that make that sort of money.
No, but according to B&O, there's enough for them to be sustained over for hopefully another 100 years. We'll see.
Yeah.
They better make it to November 17th, 2025 at least.
Yeah, I think they're arrogant enough to just borrow money to do that.
Well, you're dying and you gotta go. So let's close this
Correct.
off. I don't have a final thought other than thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you again next week.
I concur.
What time are we gonna go with, the noon or 2 o'clock? We'll decide.
Yeah, I'll let people know on the Discord. Come join our Discord. Thanks everybody for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and all that sort of thing. And see you next week.
Take good care. Bye.